Well, November is National Alzheimer's Disease Month and National Caretakers Month. And as much as we talk about early signs of the disease, prevention, and treatment, the impact of caregivers to those who are struggling with Alzheimer's is just as important. Blanca Cobb is here to talk more about this. Blanca, why is it important to talk about the caregivers?
Because it's tireless, exhausting work. It's very hard and heartbreaking to see people who they love, their cognitive abilities decline, that they have memory issues, that their body forgets how to function. And then they experience this range of emotions from sadness to denial to anger. And it's being able to process it while still being able to be this wonderful, fantastic, all-giving caregiver to those who they love. Normally, the caregivers are a spouse initially or adult children who end up taking care of the person who has Alzheimer's. And it really just pulls at the heartstrings.
Sure, yeah. And what should the caretakers keep in mind?
Caretakers should keep in mind that they're doing the best that they can. And sometimes it feels like it isn't enough, or they could be doing something differently. But the reality is that as Alzheimer's progresses, the cognitive abilities deteriorate. And being able to be independent isn't quite there. So how their loved one communicates and interacts with them changes, even though they're given their best and they're having patience and they're doing all that they can do, make sure that there's a daily routine and they're given their medicines. It still changes the way their loved one interacts with them. And it can be very disheartening. But realize this, your loved one who has Alzheimer's or losing their independence, a lot of times they don't remember or understand why they can't drive or cook for themselves or why they can't live alone. A lot of times they still realize that they're dependent on somebody else. And when those moments of fluency, they figure out that I don't want to be a burden. And it just weighs on both people. But here's the deal though, when communication gets difficult, this is a time to really rely on nonverbal communication, smiles and gestures, touch if they're comfortable with the touch on the hand or their arm, sometimes proximity, just getting close to somebody so they don't feel alone. Again, you have to read their signs and make sure that they're open to it. But sometimes you don't need words, it's just the companionship that helps find that loneliness.
Absolutely. And what's the best way we can support caretakers?
One way is to try to put yourself in their position and what they're going through and realize that they're not only helping their loved one, but they're also balancing their own life, their own responsibilities. A lot of time they still have their own family and work responsibilities and then financial obligations, and they still need rest and they still need sleep. And being able to be there to not only active listen and be emotional support, but also give them breaks so that way they can re-energize. And that is so important. Rest is important for the caregiver. So any way that you can help share the load with them would be very appreciative. And even saying that, there's some caregivers feel like, no, this is my responsibility. This is what I want to do. And they do want to do it, but they also need help in taking care of themselves so that way they can be on their full energy when they're taking care of their loved one who is struggling with Alzheimer's.
Blanca, thank you so much. And remember, you can continue the conversation with Blanca on her Facebook page, Blanca Cobb, Body Language